Well, hello everyone. How are you doing? I had to switch screens really fast, and I know I got crazy ass makeup on. You don't need to tell me. I try new things. Sometimes it doesn't work out. And today's one of the days it didn't work out, but I wasn't going to change it. I know it's like super white eyeliner. You're just going to have to deal with it. I'm doing a quick show before the LNC meeting, and I'm going to be running right from here till the LNC meeting, hopefully taking this makeup off. But who cares? I'll have crazy makeup on for an LNC meeting if necessary. So today, it's been a while. It's been a minute again, because this is that time of year. And I need to make sure I don't have lipstick on my teeth. I forgot to check before I started the show. Nope, I'm good. I know y'all would tell me. Well, maybe you wouldn't. But today, I want to do a response video to someone I haven't responded to before. And it's a channel I don't know a great deal about. His name is Cleary. I hope to put a link in up here or down there so that you can go check out his full show for yourself. Now, I get a lot of criticism lately that why don't you ever criticize the left? Why are you like always all about Ben Shapiro? Or lately it's been Matt Walsh, because those are the people that have been just channels I've watched that have said dumb stuff. But today I am in fact critiquing somebody who claims to be from the left, but I actually don't think he's from the left. He thinks he's from the left, but the left has left him. I think he's much more centrist than he thinks he is, and he thinks centrism is being right-wing. So if his definition of right-wing is centrism, baby doll Cleary, I hate to tell you, but at least on the transgender issue, you're not a leftist. But we're going to talk about that. So another channel I watch a lot is Ariella Scarcella. Ariella is a lesbian influencer who used to be very left, and the left left her. And I find her really, really interesting. I don't always agree with her opinions, but she's a good channel to watch. So when I saw this thing come across my YouTube feed that said, Ariella Scarcella is kind of transphobic, I wanted to hear what this guy had to say. She gets accused of that quite a bit. Do I think Ariella Scarcella is transphobic? Do I think that word even means anything nowadays? No. I hate all these phobic words, because what they've done is destroyed the word phobia, which is a real thing. If you want to say somebody is unreasonably against a certain group, what's wrong with the good old-fashioned word of bigot? Like, why do we have to invent phobia? Somebody is not transphobic. Somebody is not homophobic. Somebody is not pink hair phobic. Somebody is not Islamophobic or Christophobic or whatever these phobics we had. You want to know what you're phobic of? Spiders. Or the dark. Or heights. That's what you're phobic of. Oh, I should have queued up that clip that Adrian had me find, which there's this chick, you gotta look it up. It's a Maury Povich show where she's scared, phobic, literally, of olives. So just look up a clip called Bring Out the Olives, and it is the most hilarious thing you've ever seen in your life. That is phobia, okay? Can we start using words so that we don't devoid them of all meaning? Thank you very much. So I'm going to word this in the proper way. I'm just messing up language left and right today. No, Ariella Scarcella is not bigoted, which is what he means by transphobic, towards trans people. I sympathize with Ariella a lot, where she sees women's issues and lesbians in particular getting erased, as we're finding out that a lot of youth who grow up perhaps thinking, oh my goodness, am I transgender? And I do not deny the reality of transgender people, but I think a lot of people that are being pushed down that path are actually just gay. and that this is a lesbian erasure, and that this is a gay man, will grow up to be male gay erasure, that these really aren't trans people, they're gender non-conforming people that are just gay, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I understand Ariella's concern as a lesbian. I get where she's coming from. So let's see what Cleary has to say. I have a few clips. We're going to go through them. But one thing I'll say about Cleary, and I'm guilty of it myself, so he may come back with a response video that shows that I'm guilty of what I'm about to say, but it's really obvious to me that Cleary watched this Jubilee presentation in which Ariella was a part of, and that's all he knows about her. So I'm giving him really a benefit of the doubt, because if he knows a lot more about her than just this one clip, then he really, really messed up. But if all he knew about her was this one clip, he then imported a bunch of assumptions into it. And okay, I'm guilty of the same thing. I've watched literally one video of Cleary's, and I'm probably going to be importing a bunch of assumptions here as well. So I might be guilty of the same thing. But let's listen to what he has to say so I can tell you how I am defending against his accusation that Ariella Scarcella is allegedly kind of transphobic. No, she's not. She's a reasonable person that I think most people agree with. So let's go to the first clip. The first clip you see will be Ariella, because this is, again, response inception. Ariella is responding to her appearance on Jubilee. Cleary is responding to Ariella's response to herself on Jubilee. And I am responding to Cleary's response to Ariella's response to her appearance on Jubilee. And hopefully someone will do a response to this video. Let's get response inception like turtles all the way down. Okay, let's do that. All right, first clip is Ariella, and I'm going to be muting and unmuting myself so you don't get an echo. Hopefully I'll remember to unmute when I start ranting again.
Now, despite the leftists in the Jubilee comment section saying that I'm a horrible person, that I'm a TERF, that I wasn't there to find a middle ground, that I was only there to debate, I am the middle ground, and have been for a very long time in my career. I was in Jubilee's most recent middle ground episode, Conservative Lesbians versus Liberal Lesbians, even though it's really leftist lesbians versus moderate lesbians or actual liberal lesbians.
Okay, so I don't understand how she parses this stuff out, how she thinks about this. She seems very conservative to me overall. The stuff I've seen of her, she seems very, very conservative. Is she saying she's more towards the middle ground because she's a lesbian? Because being lesbian has nothing to do with your political stances. That doesn't move you over to the left or anything. If you're conservative, you're conservative, and it seems like she's a conservative. So regardless of whether or not she's lesbian. So I don't get this.
Okay, I don't see anywhere in her clip where you would possibly get the impression that she somehow is tying her lesbianism into it, because the whole show, they were all lesbians. This was a lesbian show. It was allegedly leftist or liberal lesbians versus conservative lesbians, and what Ariella was saying is that she's not a conservative, and she isn't. She's a moderate. And the fact that Cleary thinks that she's a conservative for what she says is just insane. She is definitely middle ground. Ariella used to be far left. I don't think Ariella actually has changed. I think the left just got more left and left her behind. But what's funny is he ends up agreeing with Ariella more than he realizes it. So if Ariella is a conservative baby doll, so are you. I hate to tell you that. That reminds me of when I learned I was an anarchist, where some friends of mine said, I hate to tell you this, sweetie, but what you just said, that means you're an anarchist. So if Ariella is a conservative, you're a conservative, at least on this transgender issue. Okay, next clip.
we have a lot to say. So let's dive in.
The LGBTQIA plus community has moved too far to the left.
Okay, so my thoughts on this first part. I think there are like 2 or 3 ways that I would agree it's gone a little bit too far. I would say self-ID. That stuff gets carried away a little bit, I'd say, when it comes to just like literally identifying as whatever the fuck you want. That becomes a little ridiculous. As long as you stay in the realms of humanity, I'm more or less okay with it. But once you start identifying with things like outside of that little bubble, that's when I'm just like, no, you're a fucking human. Or like, oh god, perfect example. It's pronouns. I don't think I could ever call somebody an it. It makes me feel like I'm dehumanizing them, like in my mind. Calling something an it, that's never something you call like another being, really, or at least definitely not another person. And then there's like trans, like people in sports, trans women fuck over women, and trans men get absolutely fucked by men. There's got to be another solution than just throwing them all in there, because that it really is like trans women do have an advantage. That's just a fact. Otherwise, I think the LGBT community is perfectly fine.
And Ariella would agree with everything he just said. Everything he just said, she'd agree with. And you want to know what, baby doll? There are people who would say that you're some kind of bigot for refusing to honor an it pronoun. I got censored on TikTok and I think YouTube, if I remember correctly. You can only find this video on Rumble, where I personally said I will never call anyone an it. Never, ever in a million years. And you agreed. And Ariella would agree. So how is she conservative again? The left has just become too far left, which is what that show was about, that they've just gone into loony land. And he didn't really like come out and say it, but basically he was denying the whole idea that you could be like an animal self. And I agree with him too. Like therian selves, I think is what they're calling themselves now, where someone was saying, well, a bird therian isn't the same as a wolf therian. Yeah, they are the same. You're both batshit crazy if you think you're a bird or you think you're a wolf. You want to know what else I got censored on TikTok for? Is telling people they weren't candles, because that lesbian Snow White lady was doing the candles and candle self neo pronouns, and I did a video and said, listen, I really hate to tell you this, but you're not a candle. And I got censored on TikTok for hate speech. Whoops. Now I'm getting all excited. He's kind of excitable like me. That might be why I was attracted to this video. And he cusses, which I love. You're not a candle. You're not an it. So far, all 3 of us are in agreement, and none of us consider ourselves conservatives. And I think everyone in my comments probably agrees too.
I think they're doing some good stuff.
Oof, girl. How many letters are there? How many?
Is she saying that like the amount of letters, like the what, like 8 letters? That's just too much for her brain to handle. Wait, so what? Yeah, as the community grows, it's also going to like broaden its umbrella and start to like categorize things differently, or create like new categories for people when it seems to like suit them. Like, of course, I'm sorry if your brain can't handle the extra 2 letters.
That was such a smarmy cringe. Now, this is where we start to agree. No, it's not a matter of her brain not being able to handle more letters. It's a matter of the fact that she's a lesbian. It used to just be LGB. Those 3 groups have something in common: who they sleep with. When you start expanding this out, and you can call me whatever you want, I do not believe the T belongs in there. I'm not claiming the T is invalid. I'm claiming it's something entirely different. It does not belong with LGB. I agree with the people that say that. It's a different movement. It's a different group. When you start adding a million, what is it, 2, Q, I, A, and like all of this stuff, that's a different group. Start your own group. There are needs and advocacy that people who have those issues or those identities, whatever you want to call it, they have their own issues. Don't combine them with lesbians, gays, and bisexuals. That's what she's saying. Not that her brain can't handle it. You know, I'm now going to be kind of unfair to you because I'm going to be as smarmy as you just been. Aw, Mr. Man, are you mansplaining to her on how her little brain can't handle it? No, that would be really unfair, wouldn't it? And it's just as unfair for you to insinuate that she's not in favor of a million letters being added to something because she's stupid. Shame on you.
There is a difference between women and trans women, right? Like, obviously, that's why we have the prefixes. And it seems like they're not entirely sold on it. And there's like biological arguments and stuff like that. It's not about biology, at least not the way I argue it. It's like always about social roles. What role did they play in society? So like in that way, social role way, they are very much a type of woman, right? Like that's how I think about it. But yeah, when it comes to conservatives, once again, I live in a decently conservative area, and there is still a lot of hesitancy and disbelief there. So she's downplaying it really, really hard.
I didn't play the clip where she was allegedly downplaying it, but his statement that there is a difference between women like me and trans women is exactly what Ariella says that she gets called a conservative for. And he said something very interesting. He goes, that's why we have the prefix. I agree. And that's why people like me do not need a prefix. I am not a cis woman. I'm just a woman. And I also agree with him that this whole issue is primarily, unless you're going to be sleeping with somebody, about social roles. Most people who walk up to Blair White would never guess that she's a biological man. And the argument he just made is the exact same argument that Blair White makes. And it's the exact same argument that Ariella makes. So where again, excuse me, I don't have my soda. Do I have any? Yeah, I have a little soda left here. So where exactly is he disagreeing with her? Just the fact that she doesn't call herself a liberal? Because liberalism has gone like, woof, into Lululand? Is that why? What? Yes, that is why trans women need a prefix. And women do not need a prefix. And he's going to get into this a bit later. He is inadvertently proving the argument that the prefix of cis is offensive. Ariella is not a man. Ariella is a lesbian. Ariella is a biological woman who is a lesbian.
What they do care about is forced pronouns, kids transitioning, 100+ genders that.
Okay, we got 3 points here. Okay, so we got forced pronouns. If you are so mind-fucked by politics to the point where you can't like do someone like where you can't have the common decency to use someone's preferred pronouns, as long as like it's within reason, I think you just need to like get away from the internet, get away from politics, okay? It's not that hard. Seriously, if someone wants to be referred to as they, them, that's not, like, at first it might be a little bit weird, but it's not like that fucking, it's not a difficult thing to do.
It doesn't matter whether it's a difficult thing to do. You don't have the right. And the they, them thing really doesn't bother me, to be honest with you. I know a lot of my libertarian friends and conservative friends will get angry with me at saying this, but they, them has been used as a singular pronoun. I know it's in cases when you don't know the gender. Oftentimes when I'm trying not to offend somebody, I will use the they, them. I really don't find it that difficult. But when you are right looking at somebody and it's obvious looking at them that this is a man, I don't care if they have a dress on, I don't care if they're wearing crazy ass makeup like I'm wearing, they have a beard, you know, they're not trying to fit in socially, as he said. No, there's no obligation upon me to deceive my own mind and call that person a she. No, that is that difficult. And no, that isn't being politically mind-fucked. That is you gaslighting people to go, oh, it's not so hard for you to do that. No. There's no obligation on that. Deal with your own issues. The people that are getting mind-fucked are the people that are listening to people like you gaslighting us to tell us that we've got to ignore what our eyes are telling us. No, it's not a matter of basic respect. It might be if this is a person you're close to, that you will make the extra effort to make them comfortable. If it's someone you love, if it's a family member, that's different. You do a lot of things for family members and close friends that you would not do for other people. But the average stranger on the street, no, you have no right to demand that of them. And that's what she's talking about. And that is where you are wrong. I do think culturally we are going to become a lot more comfortable with they, them, which again has been in it's been used somewhat in that way in English for a long time. But you want to know what gets really crazy? If you watch some of these TikTok videos, they want to be referred to as she, them. Now, they, them's not difficult because it's consistent. I am not going to remember a she, them. You can kiss my libertarian ass with that she, them. And if you want to call that being politically mind-fucked, who's doing the mind-fucking? You are. Stop mind-fucking me, dude, because I'm not doing that. I'm not, and you can't make me. Some things are reasonable, some things aren't. I have no obligation to make somebody feel comfortable at the cost of saying what my mind doesn't believe. And I'm like an extremely tolerant person when it comes to that. I do not deny the existence of actual transgender people. But I also absolutely believe there's a social contagion going on, and we are not being respectful or kind to indulge that. We are not doing that at all. We are going to look back 30, 40 years from now and be utterly ashamed at what we have done to young people. It's different when you're talking about adults. And that is what Ariella was saying.
Overall, like, it's a very small thing you can do to make somebody a lot happier, and it really takes like almost nothing on your part, right? It's just common fucking decency. And when it comes to kids transitioning, as long as they're going through like some rigorous therapy, you know, figuring shit out with a therapist, and and there's no problem with hormone blockers. It seems like there's absolutely no problem, especially when kids are left on them for only like a couple of years, right? Like that, it seems to be a good thing overall. You halt puberty until they have a chance to figure themselves out, and then they can make a decision, right? I think that is it's such a good way to
go. That doesn't happen. Very rare. I don't have the exact statistics in front of me, so I don't want to overstate my case. But the fact is, once you go on that path, it's very difficult to get off that path. And what if going through puberty is the thing that makes you straighten things out? You know, you don't know better than nature. And the fact is, if you let kids go through their natal puberty, a good percentage of them desist. When you stop that, you are stopping the very process that lets them figure it out. Maybe we need to destigmatize masculine-looking women and feminine-looking men. Let people go through their natal puberty. And if after that, as they get to be an adult, they still believe they are trans, then fine. I have no issue with that. I understand the problem is that they won't pass as well. Then maybe we need to deal with destigmatizing the idea of passing or not passing, being clocked or not being clocked. The reason it's such a big issue right now is we have the social contagion going on. If you leave things be, you're going to have the statistically common percentage of actual trans people. And those persons, I do think we need to be compassionate for if they necessarily do not pass 100%. But take a look at someone like Blair White. Hot damn, Blair White is hot. And Blair White went through natal male puberty. But no, it's not a good idea to put kids on puberty blockers in 98% of the cases. And I say 98% of the cases because it's used for other reasons other than transgender issues. Like if it's very dangerous for a 7-year-old girl who's going through extremely precocious, man, I'm not good with words today, precocious puberty. And that's originally where, you know, those things were developed. But you've got a normal kid. They have, and I believe they have a human right to go through their natal puberty. Remember being 12, 13? If you make this big declaration and you've changed your name and you've socially transitioned and then you went through puberty blockers, you are on such a, I'm not going to say an inevitable road, but a very high prevalence road of then going on cross-sex hormones when you might not actually be trans. And remember how embarrassing, God, everything was so painful at that age, if you can remember. And unless your family is willing to move or pull you out of school and start homeschooling you or move you to a different school district, you know how embarrassing it is to just go, oh my God, I did this whole thing and I made y'all call me a new name and I did this and that and it turned out I was wrong. That is so hard and unfair to put a kid through. It is already an awkward enough time. And then I listened to these mothers, and it is so obvious what's going on, where there was this one mother I was listening to, she was giving a talk in Denver, I think at Gen Spec, where it was like, you know, my daughter was one of those rapid onset, and, you know, now she's back to identifying as a girl, but still has a little bit of gender dysphoria. But you want to know the only time it shows up? When she's going through her period. You want to know why? Those of you who are guys, I'm sorry if I'm making you uncomfortable in chat, but I remember being a 13, 14-year-old. Oh my God, that was the most humiliating time, is getting your period in school. Like, oh my God, that was so awkward and painful. No wonder this already confused girl, that's when she felt like she wasn't a girl, because it's gross and you don't want to go through it and you don't understand it and you're going through all of this stuff. Oh boy, we are failing kids so badly.
Not gaslight me and the rest of monosexual people into saying,
Real quick, the monosexual thing, is that really necessary? Is that because if you're not bisexual, it's assumed that you're monosexual. Like, I guess I get the term. It's just, is there really that much of a point to it? Whatever.
I don't know. Is there a point to it? I mean, are you panphobic? Cleary, because you said if you're not monosexual, you're assumed to be bisexual or homosexual, or no, bisexual, I think he said. I agree with you. But what about the people who say they're pansexual? You just denied their existence, you panphobe. The term became necessary because people were insisting on terms like cisgender. If you want to agree with me that a term like cisgender is not necessary, which it isn't, I will agree with you that monosexual is not necessary. She's doing that because lesbians are being shamed when they don't want to sleep with someone who still has a willy that identifies as a woman, and they go, that's just a genital preference, you bigot. Lesbians are being shamed because they're not attracted to trans women that still have male genitalia. I hate to be so specific, but that is exactly what is going on, and that is wrong. let me tell you a basic fact about lesbians. God, and this video is not going to be monetized. I would appreciate any super chats because there is no way in the world YouTube is monetizing this video. But let me give you a basic fact of life about lesbians. I'm sorry if I'm the first person who has ever told you this, but there is really something pretty specific about lesbians. They don't like dick. I'm sorry if that was shocking to you.
No, why? Why do liberals say stupid things? We're supposed to be the smart ones. It does matter. It obviously matters. Of course it does. Genitals are very important when it comes to like overall sexual attraction and stuff. It is 100%. And if somebody doesn't like dick, like I'm not gonna fucking shit on them for not wanting to date a trans woman. I have no idea why the fuck she would ever say this in her entire life.
She says that, well, I think he was speaking to, he wasn't talking about Ariella there. He was referring to another of the Jubilee participants who was calling Ariella a bigot because as a lesbian, she would not date a pre-op trans woman. But the fact is, Ariella is not a conservative. You just agreed with her because Ariella said she's open to dating a trans woman that has had bottom surgery. The real conservatives will say, nope, genes are everything. Genes are everything, and I don't care whether you've turned your Audi into an innie, I'm not dating you. Ariella is actually open to dating a post-op trans woman. There's a great show Ariella had that might make some of you uncomfortable. And thank you, Shadow Warden, for the super chat. It is so appreciated. There's a great show Ariella had. I don't know why I'm having such trouble with her name. I think it's because I've never known anyone named Ariella before. I've known an Ariel before, but for some reason, I'm just having trouble with this. Apologies, no disrespect. But Ariella had a trans woman on, a gorgeous trans woman on, I might say. And again, this might make some people uncomfortable, but you know, they did it as tastefully as you can do such a thing with a covering where the trans woman, you know, show me yours and I'll show you mine type of thing, took a look at the results of the surgery. I think that's about as tastefully as I can put it. And Ariella was like, that looks good. Yeah, I'd hit it. You know, that looks good. Ariella is not a conservative by any stretch of the imagination. She's a lesbian who doesn't like dick. Shocker. I know.
Them feel a lot better, right? It's so kudos to you for that. It's good job. Good shit. Basic science. Though we're ignoring basic science. Really. Fucking really. I know some liberals are stupid enough to argue that biologically trans women are actually women. Obviously fucking ridiculous. But when I argue for like trans women being women, trans acceptance, I always go like the social role route. It's just, they play the role of a woman in society, or if they're a trans man, they play the role of a man in society, right? That's always what you should be arguing, because any other position, like, oh, you can call yourself whatever you want, or we're strictly going off biology, all of those positions are stupid as fuck. It's social role all the fucking way, okay? And social role wise, yes, they are a type of woman or man. Once again, yeah.
He's confusing himself. But the fact is, Ariella agrees with everything he just said. Everything he just said that he thinks makes Ariella a transphobe, he just called himself a transphobe. Because he just said what most leftists, unfortunately some libertarian leftists, would say. Some of the biggest LP accounts have tweeted out, trans women are women, trans women are women. They're not the same thing. And he even said that. Let's play this again, because he even said that is a completely moronic thing to say. obviously there is a difference. We are not the same thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. As individuals, as individualistic people, as Ben Shapiro would insult libertarians and say, I'm sorry, my bird is screaming upstairs, Wayne just walked in. We're atomistic individualists. We should have no problem with being different. I'm autistic. I'm different. I'm not the same as a neurotypical person, and that's okay. And if I was a trans woman, I'd be the proudest damn trans woman you ever met in your life. I wouldn't try to appropriate the experiences of people who were not born male. I would be proud of my differences. I'd be like, holy cow, I've experienced some things you haven't. I've seen both worlds, but let's play what he had to say again, because what he said right now in the eyes of most leftists just made him a transphobe. To me, it made him a rational human being, but it's so funny how he realized at the end that he was getting in trouble with his leftist buddies and confused even himself. Look at that look I paused on. Now, I know pausing on videos is unfair, but you can see like the look of the body language right here, where he's trying to cover his face, is so revealing, because he said the truth and realized that probably just got him in trouble. Let's play it again.
Right? So kudos to you for that. It's good job. Good shit. Basic science. Though we're ignoring basic science. Really. Fucking really. I know some liberals are stupid enough to argue that biologically trans women are actually women. Obviously fucking ridiculous. But when I argue for like trans women being women, trans acceptance, I always go like the social role route. They play the role of a woman in society, or if they're a trans man, they play the role of a man in society, right? That's always what you should be arguing, because any other position, like, oh, you can call yourself whatever you want, or we're strictly going off biology, all of those positions are stupid as fuck. It's social role all the fucking way, okay? And social role wise, yes, they are a type of woman or man. Once again, yeah.
That covering at the end there, I pretty much agree with him. I pretty much agree with him. Where he and I would differ with what he just said, but he would also agree with me, is when it comes to things like certain sports. And I don't even think it's every sport, but in certain sports, no. It is surely a biological thing. If you went through natal male puberty, you have an advantage. And the Leah Thomas situation is freaking ridiculous, and Leah ought to be embarrassed and ashamed. Let's go to the next one.
We're not talking about biology or science or whatever with that. We're talking about sociology, if anything, okay? Just how one functions in society.
In order to tiptoe around people's feelings.
One thing that they cut out here, I thought personally should have been left in because it was a big, like, oh shit moment, was when the non-binary person kept telling Becky how to properly gender somebody, because Becky was saying he when we were talking about Sam Smith. The non-binary person kept saying them. And Becky was saying, no, you will not tell me how to speak. You will not disrupt my freedom of speech. And
if you are so mind-fucked by politics, once again, if you are so mind-fucked by politics to where you're ignoring common decency, get out! You're done, okay? Your mind is gone. Just stop. Get off the internet. Stop talking about listening to political shit. Just go, okay?
How about no? How about, everyone loves this demonstration, you kiss my libertarian booty? How about you have the common decency to let me talk how I want to? Why is it common decency that you get to tell other people how to talk, and it's not common decency for people to own their own fucking bodies and mouths and be able to talk how they want? And if you don't like it, walk away. You don't have to listen to them. Change the channel, Senator. Some people will get that joke. Well, it wasn't a joke. It was a comment of something real that happened in my life. But if you don't like it, go someplace else.
She seems incredibly fucking conservative and not super accepting, especially when like it seems like she agrees that like, oh well, if they're biologically male, that means they're in no way a woman. Like, how do you reconcile thoughts like that in your mind? Like, if you have a trans woman that just straight up, you would never be able to tell that person was like a trans woman. How is that not essentially a woman to you? How is that not like and they had bottom surgery and everything? They got the big boobs. How is that not a woman to you? Like, for all intents and purposes, socially, how you're going to treat that person, you're going to treat them like a woman. So also the pronoun thing, just common decency. Once again, there's a line. Like for me, that would be like calling people like I've heard about like bunny self. I don't even. Weird shit like that, or like calling people it. I don't think I could ever get myself to do that. It just, once again, feels so dehumanizing. But for most people, like they, them, even like ZZ, stuff like that, I could get on board with that. And I have before. I've had people in my life that wanted to be referred to as they, them. Yeah, I'm way more on board with that. Especially since, dude, even if I disagreed with it, it's just like, it can be a little hard to get at first, but like once you're used to it, it's just like, it takes almost no effort. And it makes the person a lot happier. So it's just like, common decency wise, there's no reason not to do it. So just get out of your own fucking ass, all right? And just refer to people the way they want to be referred.
How about you get out of your own ass and let people talk the way they want to talk? Now, as I said, if it's someone you care about, you're going to make the extra effort. You have no right to tell me, for a complete stranger who's acting like a douche, that I have any, hey, the mother of Florus is the mother of Florus is in the house. So the funny thing is, he and I agreed on like 80% of the things. I disagreed with him that people have the right to be word police on other people. If you don't like the way someone's talking, then socially ostracize them, walk away. They're not your friend, whatever. And somebody had said someone's going to make a meme of the booty smack. I've done that multiple times, but please make the meme of the booty smack. But if you do, you have to put that little screenshot of RFK Jr. saying, wow. If you do that, I will love you forever. I'll call you it if you want to. All right. That's all I have today. Sorry, JJ. You snooze, you lose. You lost out. So that's all I have, because I need to get ready for an LNC meeting. So if you all really want to have a good time, that maybe is on the level of, if you're the type of person who likes going to your homeowners associations meetings for a good time, which I used to do. I used to go to them because I'd just be like, you know, the popcorn. I'd be like, whoa, whoa. Yeah, come to the LNC meeting at 4. I don't know if it's going to be exciting or not, but you just never know. You just never know. So I'll see you at 4 if that's what you want to do. Go get the sign up link at lp.org. You better not register after 25 minutes from now, because I'm going to be busy and I might not have time to approve it. I thank I believe it was Shadow. Oh my goodness, I'm so bad. I got Shadow Warden 99 for the super chat. I super appreciate it, because no way, between me and Cleary saying fucking dick that many times, this is not going to get monetized. Okay. You guys have an awesome evening. Again, I don't have the closing like credits thing because I need to update it. I have gotten a few more patrons. Patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. All right. I hope you have an awesome day. Bye-bye.
You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business, not because they want to